wet weather. The very latest on the way is Mountain News at 6. Starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Some Eastern Kentucky parks are going to benefit from land and water conservation funding.
WYMT's Chandler Wilcox tells us how 2 areas plan to use that grant money.
7 Eastern Kentucky communities received a chunk of the $3.9 million from a statewide land and water conservation grant.
Anytime that you're able to improve your parks, your recreation, it does bring in tourism. Anytime you bring in tourism, you're actually improving your economy.
The Perry County Fiscal Court received $150,000 to build a small park in Viper. It is something the community has pushed for.
Their vision was to have a small playground with a basketball court and maybe a picnic shelter or some picnic tables.
From building new parks to making renovations, Jackson Parks and Recreation Director Brittany Little says they plan to replace 2 playground sets here at Douthit Park that are 20 years old and were caked in mud after the July flood.
They've seen, I'm not sure how many floods, 2 major floods, but probably, 8 small floods. And it's definitely time to replace these 2 pieces of equipment for our community, for our kids.
Grants are vital to keeping the park in good shape after natural disasters. $50,000 for the playground sets is just one step in recovery.
Flooding disasters have, really hit the city hard. We've had to, come up with a lot of money to make repairs. So that, of course, in your budget makes less money for improvements or things of that nature. So grants are very important in making sure that we are able to provide.
Actually putting the grant money to use will, however, take some time.
Once you're approved for land and water conservation funds, at the state level, then the application gets sent up to the National Park System in Washington for them to do their review and the final approval of it.
Even with a longer timeline, people are building while recovering from disaster. In Jackson, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Jackson Parks and Recreation Director Brittany Little also says Douthit Park basketball courts will be getting new pavement as part of past grants.
And sunshine has broken back out in parts of the region after those showers and storms have moved through. UVA-Y is the view there. 61 right now, looking pretty nice on the campus at the moment, and I think we'll continue to see dry weather push through. A few clouds though on London Corbin Airport camera, mid-60s right now. We'll continue to see those temperatures. If you see the showers, you're falling into the 60s, even the low 60s and even the upper 50s. Elsewhere, still near 70. Where the rain has been few and far between through the day today. Still watching a couple of showers. We talked about that one up in parts of West Virginia. Here's the big one right now into portions of eastern Knott County, right on top of Mousy. That's headed up 80 toward McDowell, and I think that one's going to scoot south of Prestonsburg, but we'll continue to see that push on into the northern parts of Pike County if it holds together. Everything pushing off to the east as the storms come to an end. No big deal out there today. We're just about done with everything when it comes to that rain chance. Your forecast first through the evening, going zone by zone. As we go zone by zone, you see middle and upper 40s across the Cumberland Valley tonight into the Kentucky River Valley. Same thing. Some folks may top out right around, or bottom out, I should say, right around 50. Same thing as we head into the Big Sandy. Guys, I'll have the very latest, though, on when we perhaps return to another rain chance in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Evan. How can we move forward after the flood? That is one big question community leaders talked about at the East Kentucky Leadership Conference the past 2 days.
WYMT's RJ Johnson was at Hazard Community and Technical College this morning for these conversations.
The East Kentucky Leadership Conference came to a close on Friday. During the sessions, people discussed many topics regarding flood relief, like what it takes to be a public servant and bettering communication. Shelby Henkel with Leading America says it was a great experience learning from many different perspectives.
And it was just a really great time to cover a lot of different topics, from flood response to the needs that we saw during the flooding, different programs that the government is using to kind of assist with broadband around the world, but also in Eastern Kentucky with BEAD funding.
However, there is still one thing on people's minds, and that is what's next.
I'm hoping that people see where we can grow I don't want this to be a session where people just see all the failings. I think that if you do that, you kind of pigeonhole yourself and you don't see the great realm of opportunity before you.
Former State Representative Angie Hatton, who is now the vice chair for the Kentucky Public Service Commission, was among the panel of public servants talking about ways to serve. She says the community can make this change better.
Because while this could be the end of us and hasten the decline of our population and all of our other issues, it could also be the catalyst that makes us look at every single thing that makes it hard to live here and turn around and use this tragedy as a way to create our own future.
Both Hankel and Hatton believe that as a united community working together, Eastern Kentucky can continue to grow.
That was R.J. Johnson reporting. Now, if you missed any of our East Kentucky Leadership Award profiles, of course, the award showcase was held last night. You can still find all those on our website at WYMT.com.
A Breathitt County woman is dead after a crash near Chaves in Perry County yesterday. Kentucky State Police say 57-year-old Margaret Thomas of Altro was driving on Kentucky 28 when she crossed over the line, hitting a car driven by 32-year-old Gregory Newberry of Krypton. Thomas was pronounced dead at the scene, and Newberry was taken to the hospital for his injuries. An autopsy and toxicology report are still being conducted.
State police are investigating a two-car crash resulting in the death of a Whitley County man. KSB Post 11 responded to that crash around 11:30 yesterday morning. It happened at the intersection of Cumberland Falls Highway and Angel Road. Police say 86-year-old Ralph Little of Williamsburg was behind the wheel of a 2019 Chevy Colorado. As he was turning left off Angel Road, Little's vehicle entered the path of a 1998 Freightliner empty log truck traveling southbound. 59-year-old Randall L. Boland of Williamsburg was driving the truck. Little suffered life-threatening injuries and was pronounced dead later by the Whitley County Coroner's Office.
Police have arrested a third person in connection with the death of a McCreary County man. 48-year-old Roscoe L. Bryant of Pine Knot has been charged with murder, tampering with physical evidence, and abuse of a corpse. Police say 54-year-old Roscoe Garland's body was found around 5 p.m. Tuesday evening near a Forest Service road in Whitley County. He had been reported missing since last October. Earlier this week, officers arrested 48-year-old Joe D. Bryant and 24-year-old Broderick Taylor, both of Pine Knot, in connection to the death of Garland. Joe D. Bryant and Taylor were taken to the Knox County Jail. Roscoe Bryant was taken to the Pulaski County Detention Center. We will